going on in the world today? We're experiencing so many shifts, changes, things that are happening. The unexpected is becoming the more expected. It's becoming the new norm. I mean, we've been suffering horrendous hurricanes, destructive volcanoes, forest fires, thousands of acres burning, all kinds of destruction. Chaos, it seems like, in the world. It seems like political unrest at times. We've got mass shootings. What is going on? Well, today we're going to be addressing this age of surprise, as my guest calls it. Welcome to Creative Visions TV. I'm your host, Karen Dahlman, and today we're going to talk about this subject, what to expect in this episode, and how to weather the storms when the unexpected has become the new expected. So let me talk to you a little bit about our guest before I bring her on. Our guest today is a modern day mystic, an author, a poet, a dancer, a visionary leader in the ancient arts of wisdom traditions. She's studied far and wide with many great sages, teachers, gurus, rabbis, etc. She really has a lot of study under her belt. Well, she is also a pioneer in the art of spiritual dance. She's well known and had a successful dance career working with Robert Joffrey, from the founder of the Joffrey Ballet in New York City, also the Royal Ballet of England, and quite a few others. She also founded inner city dance programs. Now, I first met her at the Conscious Life Expo earlier this year.
It's a wonderful day. We're talking about the age of surprise and the tools and steps to transform during this time.
Fantastic.
And at the end, I give a Radiance healing journey.
You guys, what do you think? We should have her on the show. What do you think?
And when I ran into her, her aura, her energy was just so beautiful. We had a quick conversation, and I knew in that moment I was going to bring her here to you, to us, to the show, so we can hear more about what she's doing. Now, she first began to see energy at a very, very young age. In fact, she even opened up her own after-school angel school program for her friends. But they didn't always want to believe her, so she had to shut it down. But that didn't stop her. When she was 16 years old, terrible tragedy struck. Her mother was diagnosed with advanced breast cancer. But together, her mother and her developed a healing method utilizing divine light. And from this work, her mother lived an additional 13 years beyond what was expected. We're going to get into that. That divine light healing is really prominent, really important. Now, when she went off to college at the age of 17, she really wanted to study anthropology and get a degree in that area of research. But as life would have it, she met the famous American mythologist Joseph Campbell, who I'm very familiar with, you guys. He's the author of The Hero of a Thousand Faces. And he said to her, "Don't do it. It will ruin your life. You already have what we all are searching for." So this changed her trajectory, and she started studying all kinds of, like I mentioned before, a lot of different practices, theosophies, philosophies, and religions. And she founded that unknown book at the time, The Course of Miracles, and started really researching that and just soaking it up voraciously, trying to understand all about it. And during that time, she studied with mystical Christian teachers. She studied with, as I mentioned, rabbis, the Hindu Vedic tradition, Kabbalistic traditions. She really immersed herself in this field of the unseen dimensions and how to navigate it. That's why I'm having her on the show, you guys. She does a lot of this work that we talk about on this channel all the time. How to navigate the unseen dimensions, how to work with it, and how to make your life that much more sweeter and better because of it. Now, she has a system of energy work that came from the foundation of the work her mother and her did together. And this is what she calls the Radiance Journey. Listen, she teaches all around the country. She teaches at institutes and healing centers such as the Omega Institute, the Chopra Center down in La Costa. She also has developed other healing programs and currently collaborates with her husband. And we'll get to that. She's a mother of two, a wife, and lives in Montecito, California. And so without further ado, I'd love to welcome Deirdre Hade to the show. And welcome, Deirdre. Welcome.
Thank you, Karen. Yay. So happy to be here and happy to be with your beautiful audience. All of you mystics out there, all of you who know and long for a deeper connection to the alternative realities and to the world of angels and ascended masters and spiritual guides. They are so happy and so grateful that you all reach out to them, because they are just right outside that window, waving to humanity, saying, we're here to help. We're here to be your partner, but you need to turn around and open the window so we can come in. So you all have said yes and opened your windows. And we are all so very grateful and happy to be here today.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to this topic. There's so many things we've got to cover today, but let's start with, why don't you tell us about this Age of Surprise? And I know you're on a tour right now called the Tao of Surprise. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, the Age of Surprise are the literal words that were given to me in a vision I had, a mystical vision, in deep meditation here in the sacred oak grove in Montecito, California, where I live by the ocean. And in this vision, the light came and said, you have entered the Age of Surprise. And I was like, what? And the voice, who identified as God, or identified themselves as God, said, yes, you've been asking and asking what's going on. And I'm telling you, you are in the Age of Surprise, and that it is bigger than you. It is an astrological, energetic consciousness shift that is preordained, and it is a destiny. And you can't stop it, you can't control it, but like the great river it is, you can navigate it. And we all want you all to stay on the ship, the mother ship. We don't want you to capsize while you're going through the rapids of this age, the speeding up of energy, the chaos. So I want to share with you what will help you, what will keep you grounded and keep you living a joyful life. And so I said to the light, I said, please do tell. And I was given, over the course of several months, a series of teachings to share. And that's what we're out to share. And that is the Tao of Surprise. And that is the Tao, which is the river, really is understanding how surprise, we can use surprise as a catalyst for our greatest transformation. Also, surprise, when one enters a mystical state, it's always a surprise. It's never, even when you expect it, you go, wow, that was different. I didn't expect. It's always like that. So the chaos we see is really just the disruptive third dimensional view of what's really happening. And if you just take your perspective and do this, what's really happening is that the doorways into the alternative realities are opening. Mm-hmm. And so each of you have an opportunity for your greatest desire to occur, the desire of lifetime after lifetime. And that is oneness. That is being able to live in these realities. But to live in these alternative realities, in this reality, well, guess what? That is, the road through the dark woods of unknown. And that's really why I'm here, Karen. That's why I came out of my mystical cave to say, I see my brothers and sisters grappling for, how do I navigate what's happening to me? And I'm like, I have this knowledge of a lifetime, and many, many lifetimes actually, and it's my duty to just simply share it and say, look here, this works, try it out, just try it on for size, because God wants to support you in your awakening. I'll also say too, Karen, that it really is true. I don't like this saying. I don't like it, but it's true. It's the darkest before the dawn.
Right. It almost becomes like a cliche because we hear it all the time, but there's such truth in that, and all the sacred and ancient traditions talk about that. Let's talk about that a little bit more, because I think when people see this unrest and this chaos around them, and the volcanoes and hurricanes and terrible fires, they tend to think, God, this is Armageddon. The world's falling apart.
Right. Well, and I have firsthand experience about that because, as you know,
Yep.
Our house was in the line of fire in the third largest wildfire in California history. 270,000 acres burned up to my doorstep. Meaning when I look out my back door, there's nothing but charred mountains, on and on and on. 200, because the Los Padres Forest is behind my home. And on the side, we saw flames that were hundreds of feet high coming to my home. Then, if that wasn't enough, a month later, we had the mud flows, and I looked up at the mountains and all the bare giant boulders, and I said, well, they're coming down. And the gift was the fire literally came to the hedges around our house, burned the outside of the hedges, but not the inside. The mud went around the house.
Amazing.
And if it had been 15 feet wider, it would have taken our house out. And my house is made of stone. It's a sturdy house. We would have taken it out. I have a gorge that's 40 feet deep and 30 feet wide now by my house. It didn't used to be there.
Wow.
And what's really amazing is that like 30 feet of mud and debris that came through, lickety split, went through the lower portion of my property in my sacred oak grove, where I received the vision of the Age of Surprise 6 months earlier. It took everything out, but guess what? You won't believe this. The ancient oak trees were still standing.
Amazing. I got chills.
Standing, and they had boulders in the branches.
Wow.
And we said, these trees, I felt these trees are the strength of God. There's no way that these trees could still be standing. Because when you look at all of the other gorges that got cut out, the trees are gone. Gone. And I'm not even exaggerating. If you came to Montecito now, it looks like Armageddon. It looks like an area, it's like a bomb went off. It's unbelievable to explain in any words. But the oak trees were still, even like the contractors that come in to like take the mud away out, they were like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like it. The trees had boulders in them, and they had to pull them out.
Amazing.
They didn't get
what happened? How do people explain this? How do you explain this? I think you know what happened.
Well, I'll tell you, I learned a really valuable lesson. And as I said, since I've come out of the mystical closet, see, I've been like this my whole life because, she's crazy. She's crazy. My mother, Deirdre, don't talk. She's a little kooky. Oh yeah, woo woo. And I just got so tired of that, especially as a young woman. I was like, I just shut up. But now I'm like, no, I'm not going to shut up. And nobody will ever shut me up again. And I'm telling that to all of you out there, all you mystics, don't ever let anyone shut you up again. You talk. You speak what you know. Don't ever say, oh, I'm crazy. No, don't accept that label, because now we are needed more than ever, because we are what's going to save this planet. And I'm going to tell you how we're going to do this.
Before you go there, I want to hear about the oak trees and what you learned.
Right now. Yeah, that's it. That's how I'm going to tell you. So that's great. So first, I'll tell you a little story, but I don't want to take up too much time. But I had some surgery. I came back from LA, back to Montecito. I went to walk in the house, and there was a spot right outside of my meditation, where I meditate in the morning, off of my chapel. I smelled smoke, and I said, "Oh, I smell smoke. That's so odd. I smell smoke." I told Will, my husband, I smell smoke. He came in. He goes, "I don't smell smoke." I go, "I know I smell smoke." and it went away. The next day, I smell smoke. Will, come here. Will comes. I don't smell smoke. I said, okay, well, since I know I'm not crazy anymore, I'm smelling smoke because it's a being. You know, many times beings come as a scent.
Yes.
With a message, like you'll smell a flower or a pine tree. This was smoke. Clearly this was smoke. And I said, it's a being. So then I said, please, you know, what message do you have for me? It was a spirit being, a Native American spirit being that lives on the land. The land we live in is Shumash and very sacred. And the being said, fire is coming. Now, this is before the fires ever started. Fire is coming. So I told my husband, I said, fire's coming. And he's like, oh. I said, yeah, fire's coming. And then I had a vision. I closed my eyes, and all I saw was my house just in ashes. Oh. And my koi fish. I mean, it was an awful vision, and I couldn't get that picture. Now, I know, because I've been doing this my whole life, Karen, the difference between when I just kind of obsess or imagine something horrible and when it's a vision. As I said, I had my first vision at 3. So there's a marked difference between a vision and just imagining something that could happen. This was a true vision. It's like a 3-dimensional, real time in front of your eyes.
Yes.
And I took that very seriously. So I immediately began to pray and say, is there anything I can do to change the course of this vision? And of course the answer was yes. And I realized I had to do my spiritual work 1,000 times more than I was doing it. Okay. To be able to protect our home. And my hope was to stop the fire. Obviously I couldn't do that. But I began to go to deep, deep prayer, deep, deep meditation. A few days later, the fire starts in Ventura. Everyone in Montecito, it's 50 miles away. I don't ever make it here. Winds kicked up, the winds that they've never, ever, ever had. In the history of California, these sundowner winds that are 50, 60 miles an hour from the desert, kicked in one right after another. They'll kick in and go away for a month like this. I mean, that fire came so fast, and yet still the people of Montecito, we're okay. And I said to my husband, I go, we are in the line of fire, and it's coming in. I'm going to take the valuables out of the house. So we took the valuables out of the house, put them in storage, and go eat it. I mean, we went to work. I'm still doing the spiritual work. So long and short of it is the fire came. We're evacuated now, and we were watching TV and out in Santa Ynez in the valley, in the wine country, and we're looking, and a TV screen came on, and there's fire, and I'm John Paul Merito, whatever how we say it, with fire. I'm here in Montecito, and there's my house
in the picture.
There's my house, in the picture with these. Literally 50-foot flames around that. And I was like this. That's my house. So again, I pray. Well, these are the messages that came to me. Do you have faith? Do you have faith that you're protected? How deep is your faith? Can you really trust? This is God talking to me. So I had to go into this faith that was so deep. I know we are protected, and I know that whatever is supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. Well, the long and short of it is the wind, as I told you, that was blowing, for 12 hours when the fire was right behind us, it stopped. If the winds had been blowing, I would not have a house.
Wow.
But it stopped. And then the fire moved on. I told God, the president said to me, look, you, obviously, I can't stop the whole fire. But God said, your work, your spiritual work will open enough doorways for you to receive divine protection of yourself and those around you. That you can do. So I'm saying that to you. Like you can't stop. We can't stop the world events. If billions of it, millions of us do, which is what we're trying to do, yes, we can. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
The goal is millions of us do that. But I'm just saying, one person, you can take care of your corner, and that will add to the big picture, and that's what we want to do. And that's why we're all here now, right? We're like, we got to find each other. We've got to create our soul pod, and to bring good thought and spiritual light to the world. So anyway, we finally get back after almost a month being gone, and there's my house. And not only was the house fun, we opened the door, the house smelled sweet. There was not smoke.
That's amazing.
It was and then when the muds came, okay, so then the muds come, and they say this rain's coming. I go outside, and I go, okay, we better evacuate. I get in the car with my kids to drive off, and my kids, they're always teasing me. They're young adults now. But I get out of the car, and I look up at the mountain. I put my hands on my hips, and I go, okay, you will not come down.
Wow.
You are going to right there. And I put my hands up. And then my guide said, good. We were wondering when you were going to get around to doing this. And I said, well, I just can't come down. And I put this like invisible net up. And I know sounds really, really weird, but it's time for us to talk about this stuff. And I spoke with the Boulders, and I said, I'm putting a net up around our property and around our road, and so that you'll go around us. And the Boulders then spoke to me, and they said, quote, we will do what you say. We will follow your direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know our language, we can hear you, and more importantly, you can hear us. Now listen here. You see, that word, you will have dominion over, that was misunderstood. That's not what that means. What I got in that moment is, we are co-inhabitants with other forms of consciousness, living beings.
Yes.
And because we've gone up into our head and cut ourselves off from our true humanity, which is one with all of the natural world, we have forgotten the language of nature. Because in the language of nature, we work together. Nature will say, I have to burn now. It's the puja. It's the time for the puja. It's the time for the clear. And we would get a warning. We would move. Yes, Mother Earth, I honor your systems. You gave me plenty of time to move. Or the nature will say, bring us messages. And we would send messages. And so these magnificent Boulders said to me, you know our language. And what they were implying was, and I'm sorry about the noise, I'm actually in Santa Monica, an apartment, and it's really loud here. So please forgive me.
It's fine.
Boulders talking, right? So we'll just wait. Wait for that to pass. Thank you. So what the Boulders were saying, what I was understanding, and this is such an important message for all of us, is that when we know the language, it gives us and nature a power, a spiritual power. And that spiritual power can be so strong that it can part a sea, like in the Red Sea, which I believe that really happened, because I have seen it happen.
Amazing.
And I will tell you, those mountains came down, and I don't need to get into what happened in Montecito, which was beyond tragic and horrific.
It was terrible.
But when we finally came home, and our road was under 8 feet of mud and boulder and debris, And we're on a hillside. And here's the mountain. We had a matter of fact, there's a boulder. I hope you got that picture of me sitting on it.
I do.
The size of a tree.
You're seeing it right now, you guys.
On top of our driveway. And there's no reason for that boulder to have not kept rolling, but it stopped. And not one boulder went into one house on our street. And that was a miracle.
Absolutely.
And I'm very blessed. And I have to say also with this that my heart, my prayers go to all my neighbors, the neighbors we lost, families and friends I know that lost their homes. So I feel even torn telling this story because it sounds so, oh my gosh, why this, why not that?
Yeah.
But I do feel compelled to say that there are messages and lessons for us to learn from nature so that we can be protected. And I just want everyone to wake up and realize that so we can all be safe. We can all be safe. We can see what I heard, and I evacuated.
Yeah.
Even if they had told me not to, I would have. Everyone heard, but I listened. I was able to hear it consciously. And so that's why it's so important for you to connect to your mystical, spiritual side, your intuition, your knowing. Because you will always be warned and told and protected of anything happening. Always. 100%. And that's why now it is so important for you to honor that part of yourself and listen deeply, because you will be guided out of harm's way. My favorite, the quote, the spiritual line I live by is Psalm 91. It is the psalm for the age of surprise from Moses. And this is what he said at the Red Sea. Whosoever attaches him herself to the Most High shall be placed under the tent, the shield of the Almighty, and will be lifted above the ensnaring trap on the pinion of angels, the wings of angels. And what that means, Karen, because I've studied this psalm for 20 years. And what this psalm, the mystical meaning of the psalm, because remember, all spiritual teaching have a mystical meaning under the words.
Yes.
What this sacred mantra says is that when you yoke yourself to the light, that's the Most High, to the light, that is the mystical world. You are placed under an energetic protective shield. That's the tent. That's the shield. And you will be lifted up out of the Maya, the karma, the human karma. And that's why I teach how to attach to light. All my work is light. Radiance is light.
Yes. So
that you have so you can do that. Because it's our birthright to know how to yoke to a higher frequency and live in that frequency. It's just we forgot it because the ancient mystery schools have been pretty much obliterated where you would learn this. But my calling is to resurrect, like the phoenix, resurrect this work. So that we can all of us, be under the tent, the protective shield of the Almighty. So that was I'm trying to condense this down, but I really wanted to share this because I feel it's so important for all of us, and to know that we all have that ability. I'm not special, didn't do anything, but it's like a door. I have an open door. And I've studied and trained on how to keep that door pure and strong. And so that's what I do. That's what I give, and I'm just grateful to be here to share it with you, and thank you for receiving my story.
That's an incredible story, and it really speaks to working with this higher vibratory energy, this light that we are a conduit of, and we are actually an aspect of. So people always ask me on this channel, and of my guests too, how do I begin to develop this within myself? They say, okay, so I don't remember it right now and it's in me. How do I begin to tap into it again? How do I start to remember that connection I have so I can work with the forces of nature and not see myself separate from it?
Yes, very good. Well, one thing you can do in whatever spiritual practice you have, if you're Hindu and you would say the, Om Namah Shivaya, or any of the sacred Hindu mantras. If you're Christian and you say the Rosary, or if you're Jewish, you say Brocha. If you're a Native American and you chant the chant of the Wanka Tonka. And by the way, I do all of the above. Just
I told you guys she studied all over the place with a lot of different teachers.
I do all of that. So I'm like a mandala.
That's great.
It's like, oh, what time is it? That's all I do. But you whichever one you do, have a mantra, have a sacred. Go on the internet, find something that speaks to you, or use the first line of Psalm 91. Hunt around and find an ancient mantra that speaks to your heart, because they have power. They have a deep resonant power. And then if you say that little line, we do this. So just close your eyes or look down. You're saying your mantra, maybe you're reading it, and this is what we're going to do. We'll just do a little. This is like a really easy step I'm going to share with you right now.
Okay.
When you just gently to watch your breath. So you begin to relax your shoulders and your forehead. Just calm, so nice and relaxed. And we're just reciting this mantra to begin with. And as you're reciting this, I want you now to just turn your attention into your third eye, into the middle of your brain. And just imagine that there in the middle of your brain is a brilliant sapphire. A brilliant sapphire, the most beautiful clear blue light. And this sapphire is shining rays and rays of light throughout your brain. It's just hovering. And this, of course, is your third eye. Our third eye, this is our spiritual eye. And just call this beautiful sapphire now to begin to fall, to descend down through your brain, down through your brain stem. You can even just imagine it's falling through a column or a tube of soft, milky white light. Just falling and falling until it rests in your heart. And now here, as it rests in your heart, this beautiful sapphire becomes a magnificent rose. A magnificent rose with petals of light opening and opening, and just shining this love. So relaxed. Just feel the back of your heart opening as you, so relaxed. To just allow our hearts to open. Now with another deep breath, we just allow this soft rose with these petals of light to just now fall down into our solar plexus, now down into our belly. And here the rose lands in a golden chalice in our pelvic bowl, and we see this beautiful rose is now an orb of golden light. Great orb of light, and this is the seat of your soul, your wisdom and your intuition. Here you are completely connected to all that is and the knowingness of truth. And from here, now we're going to just really stretch our imagination, for imagination is our key. And now I want you to imagine that from this orb, your belly, your heart, your third eye now, a column of white light opens. A column of white light. And this column of white extends up through the crown of your head, up above you into a shining star of light, the I Am Presence, or Ein Sof. And this column of light now goes down into the earth, the center of the earth, Mother Earth. And this column of light, this white light, is the central pillar of your soul, of your consciousness. Now allow yourself to just connect to the light above and the light below. This tube of light. And from this tube of light, from the great star above, I am a wash of light now is going to wash over your whole body. Like a waterfall of light pouring down, pouring over you, over your shoulders and your heart, just washing your mind and your whole body of obstacles, negativities, disbeliefs, filling you with the light of protection and pure potential. And we just sit in the light. It's so simple, it's so effortless. As we yoke ourselves to the Most High, the frequency of light, the protective tent. And now we say thank you, gratitude to the presence of light for filling us, connecting us, opening the doorway to our soul, for our soul lives in the world of light. And we, to complete this process now, place upon you the cobalt blue pyramid of protection. The cobalt blue pyramid of protection is the great energetic grid which only allows love to enter and exit. And we say, so be it, it's done.
So be it, it's done.
And we're ready.
That's beautiful. Very beautiful.
It is done.
I'll tell you what, it really centers the person doing that. It takes you right to your core.
It takes you back to your core, and this is an exercise, a light exercise, a radiance exercise. And remember, Karen, everything is energy.
Yes.
If physics proves it, I mean, this is science, everything's energy. So the mystic works with the unseen energies of light. And those unseen energies of light are what create this reality. And so when you work with the unseen reality of light, you are a leader, you are a map maker, you are a supercharged thinker, because now you have been given true spiritual power to do good in the world, because you have yoked yourself to the light.
Absolutely. Thank you for that beautiful visualization and meditation we just did. I highly recommend people practice that. You can rewind this and do it again. I know I will. It was a great way to connect all the chakras and connect the energy centers of my body. But what's beautiful about it takes you back, reminds you of who you really are. Now, we on this channel, Deirdre, we talk about talking to trees, talking to animals, talking to any kind of sentient beings, that the world is alive. And I got to tell you guys, these techniques, that's what she just taught you, I got to tell you, is so powerful. That's, you do that enough, this is how you start opening yourself up to the rest of the universe.
That's right. That's how you start opening it up. And this is also the path to relearning the language of nature.
Yes.
And when you do this, it's so magic. You begin to live in the magic. And I just did a video that'll be on my YouTube channel soon about what is real magic, based on a fabulous new book by Dean Radin, a psychologist who was in my husband's movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? And he's writing an article. So I talked about how magic, my father was a scientist and an atheist, and he was pretty unhappy And the only time he was happy is when something magical would happen, like he would discover something by magic. And that really taught me an important lesson, and that is we as human beings, in order to be happy, in order to thrive, we have to live in magic. Why do you think all the great movies now are superhero and Hobbit movies? So sorry. Because our soul needs magic, and when we lose magic, we become sad. We become depressed.
True.
It's right there. You can cure all depression by opening the doorway to living a magical life, because then life is full of surprise.
The age of surprise, you guys. Age of surprise we're talking about.
It's surprise that, oh my gosh, I thought a thought, and now here it is. Synchronicity.
Yes.
I wanted to create something. Oh my gosh, it showed up here. Oh, look, here's a bird at the window talking to me. All kinds of fun stuff start to happen. The age of surprise gets to be its greatest self, which is the age of spiritual awakening, mystical, magical awakening. And that is the real age of surprise that that's right here for us to seize the brass ring, as long as we open our eyes and our ears and our heart.
Make that connection. Make the connection through your body to all that is. And then the awakening. It's not that synchronistic things aren't happening, right? It's just that you start to notice them more, and you help create them, or be in a place for them to be more magical for you. I think magic's all around us. We just got to wake up to it. But let me ask you this. So we were talking about such great devastation with the Thomas fire. That's the fire that you were in. And there's so many other things, like the volcanoes right now in Hawaii and around the world, earthquakes and stuff. What do you do? So people say, but I prayed and I tried to save my home, and it didn't happen.
It didn't happen, and absolutely that happens. What I would say is, and I've had other situations in my life. It's not like everything goes my way, but I was very blessed with this situation. We ultimately, as it says in Ecclesiastes, we will never know the beginning of time or the end of time. Meaning, no matter how much our third eye opens, or even we learn, that only the greater intelligence, the universe, knows the big plan. So we don't know where something's leading. But I can tell you this, and this I do know in every fiber of my being, and this is from my book, The Not So Little Book of Surprises, which is a book of prophetic visions I've had over the past 10 years that my husband, Will Arms, put together with beautiful photography of Indre Balog. But in the middle of the book, the center of the book, is a quote that was given to me from All That Is, the Creator, over a 20-year period of time. I was given a piece of it every 5 years. The first piece, I was told the first sentence, and I said, well, there must be more to this. And God said, well, when you learn this, I'll give you the next piece. It took 5 years for me to learn it. So this quote came over, and I kid you not, 20 years.
Wow.
My dear friend and a phenomenal spiritual teacher, Dawa Torshan Phillips, and when interested in Buddhism, go to him. He's an American Buddhist and has a meditation center in Santa Barbara called the Bodhi Tree Path. He read that and he said, oh, where did you get this? And I go, I tell the story. And he goes, because actually Buddhism, which I know about Green Tara because she came to visit me, but Buddhism is not something that I can, studied the way I have the Kabbalah or the New Testament or the I Am Material Course in Miracles. But he said, where did you get this? And I said, well, I told him the story. I got it over 20 years. He goes, because this is Buddha's first teaching, and I'm going to translate it. And he translated it. And it was word for word. Word for word.
Amazing.
I had to bow down to Buddha and say, I am a Buddhist too. Thank you. Okay. I get it. Because that was the one thing I haven't studied. I'm Buddhist too. See,
well, you haven't studied it in this life, but there's many parallel, concurrent lives. And so, you guys, I want everybody to hear this. The wisdom is there within when you open up to hear it. The wisdom is there within.
It's there. And that even I have a great story. My dear friend now, Maria Menounos, who has a radio show, Sirius says, also fabulous. You guys ever want to listen to her? She's amazing. And she told this story about losing her car keys. And she said, and she heard a voice, and the voice said, and she spent 2 hours looking for it. The voice said, like it's in the car, and she'd already been in the car and tore up, and she went, and it was right there. And she was like, oh my gosh, I heard the voice of God. Like, this was her mystical revelation. Like, she heard they talked about the voice.
Yes.
Practice, you hear the voice. And then when the voice is there, you know it's the voice, and you always listen to the voice.
Absolutely.
I always listen to the voice, 100%. That's how I live my life. So she's telling this story. I was just on her show yesterday with Charlotte Flair, the WWE woman wrestler, champion, amazing woman. We were all talking about mystical experiences. And this is how she was like, oh my gosh, that's it. And I said, okay, it's done. You now have the voice of God in you. So it can be anything, like any experience, to bring you in that connection. But so the quote of the book is, and this is the mantra for the Age of Surprise: the darkness serves the light if you are conscious. The darkness is just darkness if you are unconscious.
Wow. And you know, it reminds me of something I would read in the Book of Changes by the I Ching. So it's
I've also studied that book, my whole fabulous book.
Yeah, that is a fabulous book. And that was very reminiscent of that for me. It's beautiful.
The darkness serves the light, meaning that everything is here to bring us to the light. Everything.
Okay.
Everything is here to bring us to the light. And if we do not become conscious, that's our choice. See, we have free will.
Love it.
To wake up and wake up. We have free will to say, there's no alternate realities. There's no heaven. There are no angels. We can live this kind of small life of suffering. Yeah. Or we can say, I will expand to my true self. This is a multidimensional being living simultaneous lives.
Yep.
And in that, I become conscious. And in becoming conscious, I can see how this darkness, what the sacred alchemy is for me to find a place within myself to heal, repair, rejuvenate, and ascend. Phoenix from the ashes.
There you go.
And as we do this in the great, the ancient Hebrew teachings, which of course are the Christian teachings.
That's true.
We are here to redeem, repair, and heal one another. That's what love is. And it is a cycle. And we will do this until we are all in such a state of love and connection that suffering is no longer needed. Because we won't need a catalyst to happen for us to choose to expand into the great heart of all that is. And so what I want, my big message is, do not waste the age of surprise. Let's not allow the darkness just to be darkness. That's a lot of wasted energy and wasted pain by staying unconscious. And then it just perpetuates itself until we finally get it. Let's seize the moment, seize the brass ring and say, everything that happens, I'm going to ask, what is my lesson? What am I here to learn? How am I to expand? How does my heart break open? What can I see that I couldn't see? And how do I merge fully with the Creator to become an angel on this earth? I didn't say perfect,
right,
but to be of service here on this planet in our healing. And that's it. That's what we're here to do in the Age of Surprise. And it's exciting.
It's very exciting, and when you speak, you're very good. By the way, she's a poet, you guys. You can tell you're a very good storyteller, and you pull us in as you speak. And if you guys are just feeling what she's saying, I mean, maybe you want to rewind this and go back a little bit and feel it as she's speaking. I started getting movements, images. There's something about when you speak, the images and thoughts and words, it all flows together, and it's a beautiful like orchestration of energy. So that's what I'm getting, and so I want people to really listen to that. Now, it's great to hear what she's telling us. Find your own way to do this. I always suggest, and I love your path, Deirdre. You studied so many great ancient teachings, religions, theosophies, philosophies, and put them together and made it your own. And so I think that's beautiful. I think people don't have to think they have to go one way or one way over the other, or this way's good, this way's bad, this is the only way. Learn that there's many paths. I think one of the greatest gurus said this, one of the Buddhists said it, all the paths lead to the top of the mountain. You eventually get there your own way, right? So it's finding your way and your own way to connect in this time of transformation, shift, change, the unexpected, the Age of Surprise. I wanted to say one thing about that voice. And when you told your story about what Maria experienced, I want to share mine. And I know that voice of the universe. That's what I call it, voice of God, voice of universe. One day, I was looking for this ring. It was a very special ring to me, just a little silver ring, but it was a ring one of my brothers gave to me. He used to wear it, and I really always liked it. And he said, you know what, if you like it, why don't I give it to you? And so I took it, and it was a wonderful gift. It was dear to me, and I couldn't find it. I put it down. I could have sworn I put all my rings in the same spot in this little bowl. It was not there. And I went looking everywhere for hours, the same thing. And I was really feeling like, oh God, this is depressing. And I was just so attached to the ring. And it's the small things, you guys. It's the small things when you really can connect. So I'm looking. Finally I get calm, and I just said, oh gosh, where is this ring? A voice, really loud and clear, from behind. There's nobody in the room, but it's like outside of my skull that came through. And it said, the ring is behind the door. And it was a door I was standing and facing. I pulled the door. It was up against behind the door, against the baseboard and the wall. I looked there several times, and there was the ring. And I have this ring to this day, you guys. I wish I had it here to show you. I will show it to you in one of our shows coming up. Isn't that great? A small thing like the keys, but that's the way you tune in, like you said.
But very important, because life is in the small things. Life is in the details. And the miracles are in the touch of your hand with another's hand. It's in the small things. And that's our gift. And when we just touch each other, person to person, we create a global force, a movement. And that's the other thing I want to make a call to action.
Great.
That we all create a movement, a force of like-minded, open, conscious individuals here, connecting, here, meeting up. Right now I'm talking about create a soul pod. A soul pod is simply you find those who you gel, they're on the same path, and you create a collective to support each other, to talk, discuss, read books, meditate, share your insights, what's happened. And by doing that, when you create a soul pod, you create what's called an orhamet. That's Hebrew, it means an oversoul. You create another kind of light. It's called orhamet, and that light is actually an angelic being. And when that being actually goes into the world, as an emissary for your collective consciousness, and works. And works for you. And that's what happens when you come together in a group. And I always like to say 8 is a great number. 8 is a very, very powerful number, but you just start together and make a soul pod. And in the energetic world, I feel like all of us here today with you, Karen, we're all part of your soul pod, and I'm so happy to be a part of your soul pod. And let's create a movement of love, of virtue, of speaking a certain way, of non-blame, of speaking from a state of wisdom, a state of, yes, we have to many times rebuke bad behavior, rebuke evil, rebuke harming one another, but let's do it without entering into the hate game.
I agree.
See, once we do that, out of the tent, and we're no longer in that tent of light. So let us be the voice in a movement that we speak with authority and act with authority as the masters.
That's it. Step up and be masters now.
You are a master right now, this minute. Like just connect in. I'm a master now. You don't. What God told me is that the whole thing of like 30, 40, like it's over now.
It's over now.
Surprise.
That's right.
It's over. You just like affirm it. You are it.
That's
you
right.
are the voice. You are the master. There's no like looking over your shoulder like, okay, where's my... No, you're it. So, and when we come together as this collective of masters, we will then affect the world to such a great degree that we will bring the dawn. We will greet the dawn. And the dawn can come much, much sooner.
We are the change. We are what you want to see in the world. We are it. You are your own savior. And you guys look around the world, you see so many people that you had put on pedestals falling off. And that's natural. They're humans. So instead of looking outside for someone to follow your own truth within. Yes, study and listen. And I love what you're saying, Deirdre, about coming together and the power of 8. Even if you get in the power of 2 or 3, just with other people, as we're doing here, we come together and share our ideas and insight, and we comment, and we talk to each other, we interact. It's allowed us to come together in our truths and supporting each other in our truth. And that's when you are the master. And we don't need these leaders to show us the way anymore. They've done it.
Absolutely. That paradigm is, in case you haven't noticed, is coming to a crashing halt.
Oh, it's falling.
We are. It's like that. That's a.
Yes.
We are now asked to work together side by side as colleagues, as visionaries. And by the way, I do want to say that term, The Power of 8, is a fabulous book by my dear friend and colleague, Lynne McTaggart, who wrote The Intention Experiment. And The Power of 8 is her a study, is a journalist of when 8 people send healing, the phenomenal healings that happen around to people and the people in the group. And of course, that's important to me, being a creative radiance healing, and my now vision to create soul pods, which are this. The power of 8, people of like-minded coming together with an intention to create global healing and peace. So I just want to make sure to give her credit for that, because phenomenal book. Love it. Everyone read it.
The book, the link to you guys is below, so you can find her book.
Yeah, so we are now at a time where we come together as a group, and I'd like to just say, as far to share this in true honesty and transparency. There are ones, such as myself, who were born with a knowledge and have studied and led and have, run into a lot of walls and cracked my head open more than one time and gotten back up. And so there are those who have a wisdom, like an elder has a wisdom. And it is important to listen to the elders. I mean, it is important to go to old folks' home and listen to the stories of those old people, because there's so much wisdom. So I'm not saying now it's like, oh, I don't need to listen to anybody, because that's not true. Sorry. I to my kids all the time. I go, I know you're 20 now, however, So, and I say to my daughter, my kids, I say this, I go, well, you know, you're an adult now, you make a choice, but all I want to say is you're going towards the light, and you can either choose the hard road or the easier road. And I have some wisdom, and it'll make your road a little bit easier. So that's all I want to say.
Let me share a little bit with you.
I've created my website as an information site. Everything on it's free.
Links below, you guys.
Yeah, and I'm just want to share tips and tools to make your road easier as you go through your awakening, so you don't have to like crack your head open on too many walls, because it does happen, because you know we're learning, we're like toddlers sometimes, but at the same time it also means there's a master in you, so it's
That's right.
It's a bit of a paradox.
We are all teachers and we're all students, and we get to be both.
We're all students.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's all. Just listen, find people with wisdom and have them in your soul pod, because that's what it's all about right now, is that wisdom, having wisdom.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that and clarifying that point. Now, we're getting to the point of the show where we start to close it up and end it, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about collaboration. You and your husband got some cool things coming up. You want to share what's coming up for you guys?
Yes, thank you so much for asking. We're both excited. My husband, William Arntz, was creator and writer, director, along with an amazing team with Betsy Chassey, who's now working with us. I love Betsy.
That's great.
She's amazing. Super mama, a wise mama, and author herself. She wrote a great book called The Tipping Point. I'm not doing that's other thing. Oh, Tipping Sacred Cows.
Okay. Oh, great.
And Mark DeSantis. So they made What the Bleep Do We Know? And, you know, that was a seminal movie of consciousness. And my husband, Will, went into retirement. I created Radiance Healing Meditation, worked with thousands of people worldwide, and have my Radiance Pure Energy course, which is a fabulous course if you want to learn about the fundamentals of moving energy and energy in your body for self-healing and happiness, health. Then that's through Learning Strategies. It's also on my website, which is Radiance Pure Energy Program. Anyway, we both kind of went into this self-proclaimed hiatus. I went into deep meditation for 5 years. We both met each other. We got married. We got our home in Montecito and developed a life together. And then we both got knock from God. Okay, guys. Time to go back out.
Yeah,
so we both came out of hiding, and we put my new website up. We put together the Not So Little Book of Surprises, which is such a beautiful book. I just was honored that he created it out of my work. And it just does, I just feel like it's an offering to God. It is an oracle book. People tell me all the time they open up a page and there's an answer, like in the I Ching or any oracle book.
Yes.
I wish I could take credit for everything in the book, but it's an amalgamation of me, but the angelic beings, wisdom. And then now we put together a presentation we're taking on the road, going around the country, called The Mystic and the Physicist.
Love it.
And on our YouTube channel, we have Mystic and Physicist episodes. And this is where we really bring the mystic and the physics, the science, together, discussing topics and conversation about how mysticism and science support one another, what the new discoveries are, and how do we work together. So we have presentation. We were at Deepak Home Base in New York, and we've just really been all over at Temple Hayes, First Unity in St. Petersburg, Florida. We're going to be with Reverend Ross at Sacramento Unity. And then in the fall, we're giving a 3-day retreat, and I would love to invite you all to come at the Kripalu Yoga and Retreat Center in the beautiful Berkshire Mountains. Kripalu is 66 acres of natural land you can just walk on with a lake. The food is all organic. vegetarian. The accommodations are all new, and it's a phenomenal retreat center. We'll be going deep into spiritual meditation. I'll be giving personalized radiance healings to every participant, clearing obstacles to success and to opening to your multidimensional self. Will is going to be bringing the science of neuroplasticity, what we've discovered about the brain, physics, and it's going to be very, very exciting. So,
and that's September, I believe.
That is September 21st through the 23rd, and you can find that on my site, DeirdreHade.com/events.
And link will be below, you guys. All her links she's talked about in the show will be below as well.
And so it'll be a real fun time to have our big soul pod gathering.
It sounds exceptional.
I got that idea. I was in Hawaii and I was watching the dolphins swim. You know, we were going to swim with the dolphins. I was watching. And I watched how they were all together. And then there would be one dolphin, and they'd go back and get the dolphin. And I talk to dolphins. I've been teaching dolphin consciousness into many workshops, connecting you to who your dolphin is in the ocean, and people just cry and have these amazing experiences because we all are connected to a dolphin pod in the ocean because we are part dolphin, because we're part of it, and dolphins are a higher state of consciousness for us from our lives in Atlantis and Lemuria. So I was talking to the dolphins, and I said, "Wow, you guys are always happy," and they go, "Well, that's because we have our pod." I said, "What do you mean?" They go, "Well, we're not happy if we don't have our pod, and we actually get sick, which is why in captivity we get sick and sick because we have to be part of our pod." And I go, "What do you mean?" They said, "Well, our pod is an energetic grid of love, of support, so we know we're safe in the third dimension. We're cared for. We're never alone. We have a power by being a group." And I said, "Well, gosh, I wish we humans could remember that. Maybe we'd be happier because I feel lonely most of the time." And they said, "Yes, well, that's because you don't have your pod." And they said, "You need your soul pod."
I love
That's
it.
what they said. And so that's where I got that, and I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start saying the dolphins say for us to be happy, we need our soul pods.
I think there's so much to that. We need to connect with people, and the power of 2 or 3 or 4 up to 8 or more, you guys. We connect like this. We start to feel strong.
You have smaller soul pods, you might have a soul pod in your neighborhood or your family. You have different pods, and then you get to have a reunion like Kripalu where you can bring all our pods together.
I love it. Well, I hope you guys go and join her. So final words that you'd like to share with the audience that you think the most important thing that people should take away after hearing everything you shared. She shared so much, you guys. But what would you say is one of the most important things you want them to take away from this talk today?
The most important thing I want you to take away is that you are great. You are great. You're already great. Nothing that's happened to you and nothing you've done, no matter how horrible it may feel, has touched your greatness, the purity of who you truly are. Reconnect with that always and know that we're here on a bumpy ride of third dimensional consciousness, which is creative consciousness. And in creativity, there's always a chaos because newness is built out of a kind of destruction. That's just the way it is here. So it's okay to accept the laws of this dimension, but thrive in it and know that your greatness, the thing that never changes, that central pillar that can, which is, by the way, your staff of life. That is the staff of life. Nothing can knock that down, touch it, harm it, take it away. Nothing. And that's who you really are. And connect to that. And you are the staff of life. You are your true beingness. always remember that, and don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. And if they say it, don't believe it. Just look back and say, oh, no, I'm great and I am wise.
I love it. I love it. Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show today, Deirdre, and for sharing that brilliant, loving, healing meditation you did for us, and all the wisdom from your mysticism you've been able to share with us. And by the way, you guys, she was channeling as well. And I want to thank you so much again for joining us. It's been nothing but a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future real soon.
Thank you so much, Karen, for having me, and thank you for having this phenomenal platform you've created for all of the light to heal and be together and find each other. We all are so grateful, and bless you, bless you, bless you. And let's go out there and let's all rock, okay?
Thank you again. You guys, and there you have it. Here's a woman who is really being true to her divine self. She opens herself, her pillar of light, her staff of life, who she is, and connects back with the divine. She knows she is, and she asks for you to seek that greatness within you, to know that you are a master and that you too can commune with all of life. Now go out there and go find your pod. You're part of my pod, and I appreciate you for being here. And thank you for joining me today. This is Creative Visions TV. I'm Karen Dahlman. Now get out there and explore that vast universe that is alive within you. Until next time, bye-bye.